Greed. An excessive and selfish desire for more of something. Greed. $515,460.97. This dollar figure represents the combined amounts of salaries plus benefits that some employees of 360 Kids Support Services took home in the calendar year of 2020. The shocking part? This figure represents the income of only 4 of the top executives. This production is about that $515,000 and is probably the most enlightening and important 7 minutes of video that you need to see. To begin with, the $515,460 in earnings is not a secret. It's information freely available from the Ontario Sunshine List for those inclined to look. What is the Sunshine List? Well, back in 1996, the provincial government passed the Public Sector Salary Disclosure Act in order to ensure transparency and accountability. The Act requires that organizations which receive public funding submit by March 31st of each year the names, positions, salaries, and total taxable benefits of employees paid $100,000 or more in the previous calendar year. This data collected is published annually by the province and includes those, for example, working for schools, hospitals, government services and utilities, and non-profit organizations. A non-profit organization is still a business, but with the stipulation that any revenues which exceed expenses must be committed to the organization's purpose, and that the distribution of any residual earnings to individuals who exercise control over the firm is prohibited. 360 Kids Support Services is this type of commercial entity. So, exactly who at 360 Kids is getting the money? Well, according to the Sunshine List for 2020, we have Leslie Sims, Director of Resource Development, Bonnie Harkness, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Program Development, Tracy Williams, Director of Finance, and of course, Clovis Grant, Chief Executive Officer. These individuals received over $112,000 plus $5,600 in taxable benefits, over $116,000 plus $5,700 in taxable benefits, over $118,000 plus $11,000 in taxable benefits, over $138,000 plus $6,800 in taxable benefits, which equals $485,000 in salaries plus $29,000 in taxable benefits, for a grand total of $515,460.97. The Sunshine List tells us that 2020 was the first year that 4 employees at 360 Kids earned over $100,000 a year. In 2019, there was only Harkness and Grant, and prior to that, it was just Grant. And as this chart shows, after 2018, salaries nearly doubled, and then doubled again for 2020, while the raise increase remained steady. There is no applicable data for 2017 as it was a transitional year where Grant took over as CEO from Michael Braithwaite, who also took home nearly $250,000 in 2015-16, with more than a 16% raise in his final full year at 360 Kids. But all these numbers need to be backdropped against 360 Kids' own financials, and fortunately, their annual report is also publicly available on their webpage. We go to the financial snapshot corresponding to the Sunshine List's 2020 reporting year, keeping in mind that 360 Kids' fiscal year ends in March, parallel with the release of the Sunshine List. Here we can see their revenues for their fiscal year with a total budget of $8.4 million. And in contrast, this is a snapshot of their expenses at $8.5 million, showing a deficit of more than $75,000 over revenues. Nevertheless, salaries and payroll-related expenditures ring in at a whopping 69% of the expenses, or roughly $5.8 million out of the $8.4 million of income. The $515,460 paid to the 4 top executives represent close to 9% of that $5.8 million, with the remaining $5 million paid to the rest of the employees in amounts up to $99,999 each, keeping them off the Sunshine List, meaning we can never know where the remaining funds are going, to how many, and by how much. But still, nearly 10% of salary allotment going to just 4 people seems like a hell of a slice of the pie. But there's a better way to look at it. About a year ago, the deputy mayor of Richmond Hill at the time, Joe DePaula, availed himself of a photo op while donating a $5,000 check to 360 Kids, which he later posted about on social media. Although it was understood that the $5,000 came from personal fundraising, the oversized check sported the City of Richmond Hill's banner in the corner. In any case, in order to equal the $515,460 paid to the 4 top executives, this is how many $5,000 checks need to be donated. Plus another 3. And you'd still be short. Another comparison can be made through this 360 Kids post from the summer of 2020. In 2018, our HOPE program provided 1,371 safe bed nights. To do this costs over $485,000 per year. Now, despite the irony, if you were paying attention, that the figure of $485,000 in this post from 2020 is exactly the same figure of $485,000 for salaries, not including taxable benefits, appearing on the Sunshine List's 2020 reporting year. There's still some math to be done here. And this one's a mind bender, so here we go. We can assume that bed nights means how many beds are occupied by a person during the year. We divide 1,371 by 365 and get an average of 3.75 people each night. Let's actually round that up to 4. We take the $485,000 and divide it by 365 nights a year to equal $1,328.76 available per night to accommodate those 4 people each night. Now, here's a screenshot from the same time period showing rates for deluxe rooms at Toronto's luxurious Fairmont Royal York Hotel during peak season. To comfortably accommodate 4 people, the cost of 2 king suites per night after taxes is $1,170.68. That's over $57,000 less per year than the HOPE program. But the more practical choice here is the Premier Signature King room. 2 of them would comfortably accommodate 8 people at a total cost of $969.54 per night after taxes, over $131,000 less per year than the HOPE program, yet providing double the bed nights. And that $131,000 saved could go towards salaries for a nurse or a counselor, food, Kleenex, whatever, and there'd still be funds left over. Mind blown. We already have 360 Kids financials for this year, and we're trying to reconcile it. Revenues have sharply increased by nearly $1.25 million, yet payroll and related expenses remained roughly the same at about $5.9 million despite the salary raises we examined here and that now make up 71%, up from 69% last year. Total expenses actually dropped by $272,000 from last year, resulting in a total operating surplus of over $1.4 million. Next year's Sunshine List will be available in just a few short months. With 360 Kids' budget sure to exceed $10 million, will there be even more people on the Sunshine List? Or will the same people just get bigger raises? We'll wait and see in March, and we might revisit the numbers at that time. The bottom line here is, everyone's entitled to draw a salary for the work that they do, but it's highly unsettling to realize that inside of a few years, millionaires are being made in an industry geared to what those millionaires in the making refer to as the homeless. This is the season of generosity, and the time of year when fortunate people feel the need to give. By all means, do so. But consider the information you've heard and seen in this video when donating to any charity this holiday season. Do your research and know where your money and goods are going before you blindly hand them over. But before we go, we'll leave you with a comment left by John a few weeks ago on a related post on Facebook. Everybody in the homeless industry is doing great, except the homeless. From what we've seen today, we're inclined to agree. We'll continue to bring you the information you've come to rely on because this is the reality of the Hub Exposed, and we are your essential service.